I will opwe all your husbands. Nothing will happen to me. Get out of my sight.
In the heart of Umu-Ego village, where gossip traveled faster than radio and secrets slept lightly, lived a woman no husband dared deny. Her name was BLUEBOSOM. Nobody knew her real name again. They only knew her by appearance. BLUEBOSOM was not tall, not short, but her chest announced her arrival before her feet touched the ground. When she walked into a place, conversations slowed. When she stood at the junction, eyes pretended not to see but saw everything. Her bosom sat like two stubborn calabashes that refused to obey gravity. Her waist, sharp like a cutlass. Her lips, always curled in mockery. Her eyes, the kind that looked at married men and made their wedding rings feel loose. Men would clear their throats when she passed. Some would cough. Some would suddenly remember urgent errands. Some would tighten their wrappers like fear could be tied away. And her mouth? Fire. Absolute fire. When BLUEBOSOM laughed, it was not joy, it was warning. Women whispered her name like a bad prayer. Mothers pulled their daughters closer when she walked past. Wives adjusted their wrappers and prayed their husbands came home early. Because in Umu-Ego village, BLUEBOSOM was not just a woman, she was a presence, a disruption, a name that entered a marriage before she ever entered the house. And as the sun dipped behind the palm trees of Umu-Ego, an evening shadow stretched across the village paths. One thing was certain: where BLUEBOSOM stood, peace never stood long. One afternoon, standing by the village junction, with her wrapper tied dangerously low, BLUEBOSOM faced a woman who had gathered courage like borrowed money. The woman came shaking, not from cold, but from anger that had stayed too long in the heart. "You think say we know they see you?" the woman shouted. "You think say you fit destroy everybody marriage and go free?" People gathered, not to support, but to watch. Because in Umu-Ego, when BLUEBOSOM was involved, trouble always arrived early. BLUEBOSOM did not move back. She did not flinch. She only adjusted her wrapper, tilted her head, and opened her mouth. And when she spoke, the whole junction went silent. "I will opwe all your husbands, and nothing will happen to me. Get out of my sight." The ground went silent. Even the goats froze. A leaf fell from a mango tree, and everybody heard it. Because BLUEBOSOM was not joking. This was not insult. This was not anger. It was confidence, speaking without shame. Her profession was opwehin. BLUEBOSOM didn't sell pepper. She didn't farm cassava. She didn't hawk akara. Her specialty? Collecting husbands like trophies. If your husband passed her once, she smiled. If he passed her twice, she laughed. If he passed her 3 times, you better start fasting. Men said it was her work. Women said it was juju. BLUEBOSOM said it was confidence. She would sit outside in the evenings, chewing sugarcane slowly, watching married men rush home before dark, and she would laugh. "Why una dey rush? Night still young." Her laughter followed men into their houses. It followed them into their dreams. It followed them into trouble. And the village knew one thing. As long as BLUEBOSOM believed nothing could happen to her, something was already waiting. From that day on, BLUEBOSOM stopped explaining herself. She didn't need to. In Umu-Ego village, her name alone carried weight. Men argued about her in beer parlors. Some said, "Na her work." Others shook their heads and whispered, "No be ordinary thing, na juju." BLUEBOSOM had all of it, and she laughed. Because according to her, it was not juju, it was not chance, it was not luck, it was confidence. Every evening, when the sun softened and shadows grew long, BLUEBOSOM would bring out a stool and sit outside. Slowly, deliberately, she would peel sugarcane with her teeth, chewing slowly as if time itself belonged to her. From there, she watched the road. Married men passed with hurried steps. Some avoided eye contact, some greeted without stopping. Some pretended to be on urgent errands that did not exist. BLUEBOSOM watched them all, and she laughed. "Why una dey rush?" she would say. "Night still young." Her voice carried down the road, soft, teasing, dangerous. Inside their homes, wives felt uneasy without knowing why. Something would sit heavy in their chests, something without a name. Meanwhile, BLUEBOSOM remained untouched. No shame, no consequence, no warning. Each home she disrupted became proof of her power. Each marriage she shook fed her pride. And as days passed, her confidence grew teeth. In Umu-Ego village, it became normal, too normal, until one evening, when the air felt different, when the road brought someone new, when confidence met a question it had never faced before. Because that was the evening the story changed. Now, here is where the story changed. One evening, a new man entered Umu-Ego village. Quiet, well-built, eyes calm like river water. His name was Papa Kelechi. BLUEBOSOM saw him and she smiled. The smile that had destroyed homes. The smile that had made husbands stumble in their own doors. The smile that whispered, "Tonight, another one is mine." That very night, she dressed extra. Her bosom stood at attention. Her perfume arrived before she did. As Papa Kelechi passed, BLUEBOSOM said softly, "Come and rest small." The village held its breath. All the men stopped. Even the elders paused mid-step. But instead of following her, instead of stumbling like the others, Papa Kelechi looked at her carefully and said, "Madam, you have opiated many husbands, but who opiated your peace?" The air shifted. The sound of crickets stopped. Even the goats seemed to step back. Laughter burst from nowhere. BLUEBOSOM laughed too, loud, proud, unstoppable. "Nothing can happen to me," she said. But deep down, a crack had formed, a whisper in her chest that she ignored, a question she had never been asked. For the first time, she felt the village watch her differently, not in fear, not in awe, but in curiosity. The night stretched on, the stars blinked quietly, and somewhere inside, BLUEBOSOM realized this man was not like the others, and the story of her confidence, of her power, was about to be rewritten. From that night, strange things began. Men stopped looking back at her. Her laughter echoed alone, swallowed by the wind. The mirror no longer agreed with her confidence. Every reflection seemed to whisper, "You are not untouchable." Worst of all, every man she tried to opwe suddenly remembered their wives. Some ran, some prayed, Some blocked her number. BLUEBOSOM began to shout at the junction again, her voice sharp, daring, mocking. But this time, nobody gathered. The village had moved on. The goat did not freeze. The women did not whisper. The men simply walked past, hands firmly on their wives' shoulders. One evening, sitting alone, BLUEBOSOM whispered, "Why is nothing happening anymore?" That was when she realized she had spent her power destroying homes and forgot to build her own destiny. Her beauty, her confidence, her fire had become weapons turned inward. The village no longer feared her. Her laughter no longer commanded attention. Her body no longer announced arrival. And in the silence, a voice, almost hers, said, "Power without wisdom will disgrace you. Confidence without character will empty you. If you build joy from another person's pain, one day pain will rent a room in your heart." Respect marriages, respect yourself, because beauty fades, but consequences don't. BLUEBOSOM leaned back. Her wrapper hung lower than ever. Her bosom, sharp waist, and fiery lips remained, but for the first time she felt empty. The woman who once opposed confidence had finally met her match, herself.